We're about to dive into one of the most complex and, let's be honest, one of the most frustrating topics in enterprise IT. If you are just tired of all the manual workarounds, the brittle connections, and that constant friction between your cloud apps and your legacy systems, well, this explainer is for you. We're going to make this whole thing accessible, actionable, and show you exactly why solving your integration problem is more urgent than ever.
So let's just start with a question that probably hits a little too close to home for a lot of IT leaders out there. Your company, like pretty much every company, runs on a mix of modern cloud apps and those absolutely essential on-prem systems. The problem, they were never ever designed to talk to each other. And that creates a massive roadblock for your digital transformation efforts.
So, do any of these sound familiar? The endless manual data entry, processes held together by spreadsheets and a prayer, fragile partner connections that seem to break every time someone sneezes, and that constant friction between your shiny new cloud tools and the legacy systems you simply can't replace. If you're nodding along, you are smack in the middle of the integration gap. It is the silent killer of digital transformation, grinding all your progress to a halt.
To get a sense of just how massive this challenge is, just look at the numbers. API traffic now makes up 83% of all internet traffic. That's a staggering jump in just a few years. So the architectures that we designed for slow, private networks are now facing an absolute fire hose of API calls, and they are buckling under the pressure. This isn't just some tech problem. It's a direct threat to your ability to compete.
And it's not just the sheer volume of the data, it's the speed. The demand for real-time data is absolutely exploding. By 2025, it's expected to make up 30% of all data created. So those old batch jobs and overnight updates, they just don't cut it anymore. Your business needs to act on information the second it happens, and your current setup is probably holding you back.
And just to make things a little more interesting, 80% of all this new data doesn't fit into those neat little rows and columns our old systems love. We're talking about unstructured data, JSON files from your apps, PDFs from your partners, you name it. Your traditional tools were just never built for this stuff. And this is the data that holds the keys to innovation, but you're struggling to even get the door open.
Look, the cost of doing nothing here is just immense. This is not just a headache for your IT team. It is a direct roadblock to efficiency, it's a barrier to collaborating with your partners, and it's a critical threat to the agility your business needs to survive, let alone thrive.
So, let's dive into the solution. Here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll really nail down this modern integration challenge. Then, we'll define exactly what a hybrid integration platform is. We'll pop the hood and look at the architecture, talk about managing data and operations, and wrap up with the all-important security and implementation roadmap. By the end, you'll have a crystal clear path forward.
All right, Section 1. Let's formalize the problem. We need to be clear. Your disconnected systems are not just an inconvenience. They are a fundamental roadblock to growth in a world that demands everything be seamless and in real time. Okay, now that we're all on the same page about how big the problem is, let's get to the good part, the solution. So what is the architectural answer to this massive integration gap? Well, it's all about a new way of thinking that embraces the hybrid reality we all live in. Okay, this is the absolute key takeaway. A hybrid integration platform, or HIP, is basically a unified framework that connects your cloud and on-prem worlds. And here's the best part. It doesn't force you to rip and replace anything. Instead, it creates this flexible, secure integration layer, a bridge, really, that lets you keep your sensitive data safe on-prem while still tapping into all the power and innovation of the cloud.
This chart just shows the night and day difference. We're moving away from that old, rigid world of on-prem middleware with its huge upfront costs and painful slowness to a flexible, hybrid world. This new approach is scalable. It supports modern integration patterns, and it drastically cuts down on that expensive, brittle custom code that is a total nightmare to maintain.
Now, these platforms aren't just built on a whim. They're designed to handle the foundational standards that modern business actually runs on. We're talking about the time-tested reliability of EDI for supply chains, the centralized product data from GDSN data pools, and of course, the power of modern APIs that connect everything else. A true IDHS has to speak all of these languages fluently. All right, time to peel back the layers and look at the architecture. Let's pop the hood on a modern HIP and see how all the pieces fit together to make the magic happen.
So, when you boil it all down, a modern HIP really stands on three essential pillars that all work together. You've got your data transformation tools, the integration middleware acting as the engine, and the analytics capabilities that give you that all-important visibility.
First up, and this is fundamental, the platform has to be able to handle any kind of data you throw at it. Think of these data transformation tools as a universal translator. They take everything from old-school EDI files to modern JSON and clean it all up into one coherent, usable format that all your systems can understand.
Next, you've got the integration middleware. This is the central nervous system of your entire environment. It's the powerful engine, or maybe the traffic cop, that orchestrates the flow of all that data. It makes sure everything gets to the right place, in the right format, at exactly the right time. This is where real-time integration really comes to life. And finally, you can't manage what you can't see, right? That is why built-in analytics are so critical. This is your mission control. It gives you a single pane of glass to monitor the health and performance of everything. This end-to-end visibility is absolutely essential for spotting issues before they become problems and for actually getting business insights out of your data. Okay, knowing the components is one thing, but actually managing the flow of data through them, that's where the rubber meets the road. So let's get practical and look at the strategies for data flow, validation, and error handling that really separate a pro-level HIP from a basic tool.
Data mapping is the absolute bedrock of B2B integration. It's really just about telling the system that this field in one system means the same thing as that field in another. A good HIP gives you a whole toolbox for this, from simple rule-based mapping to more automated schema and metadata-based mapping, all the way up to using machine learning to predict the right connections. Getting this right is everything for data integrity.
To keep your data clean, a robust IPIDA doesn't just check it once. It runs it through a 4-stage quality control process. It starts with the basics that can't be overridden, like making sure a number is a number. Then it checks individual fields, applies your specific business rules, and does one final check before sending the data on its way. This layered approach is your best defense against bad data causing chaos downstream.
Now this is where an enterprise-grade platform really earns its keep. Look, things happen. A network will glitch. A system will be unavailable for a minute. Instead of just failing and creating a 5-alarm fire for your team, the platform is smart. It uses retry strategies, like exponential backoff, where it intelligently waits longer between each retry. It doesn't just keep banging on a door that's temporarily closed. This kind of built-in intelligence is what creates reliable, resilient systems.
This brings us to the final, and you could argue the most critical piece of the whole puzzle: security. How in the world do you protect your data and stay compliant when it's flowing between your data center and the public cloud? This is the question that keeps CIOs up at night, and a modern HIP has a very clear answer.
I love this quote because it just gets right to the heart of it. This is not about just buying a piece of technology. It's about having a complete, holistic understanding of your needs, choosing the right deployment model, and having the tools to manage it all. It's about being proactive, not reactive. With a modern HIP, security isn't some feature that's just bolted on at the end. It is baked into the very foundation. We're talking about core principles, like least privilege access. And critically, it embraces a zero-trust architecture, which basically means trust no one, verify everything, all the time. This isn't a trend. It's the new standard for enterprise security. Now, if you're in a regulated industry, think healthcare, finance, you know the drill. These controls are absolutely non-negotiable. A HIP has to give you centralized logging for visibility, it has to support regular audits, and crucially, it has to let you maintain control over your own encryption keys. This ensures you are always the ultimate guardian of your data, even when you're using the cloud.
So, let's bring it all home. The big takeaway here is that a hybrid integration platform is way more than just another tool. It is the strategic foundation for your company's digital future. It's the bridge that connects where you are today with where you need to go, protecting the massive investments you've already made while giving you the agility to connect to whatever comes next. So I'm going to leave you with a question to think about for your own environment. What is the #1 integration bottleneck that is holding you back right now? I mean, really think about it. That one connection that always breaks, that manual process that wastes so many hours. Now imagine how a more flexible, secure, and hybrid architecture could not only fix that one problem, but unlock a ton of new value for your business. The journey starts with that first connection.